Well, good morning. Thanks for joining Jonathan and Julie D in the morning. And happy Friday to all you guys. Good morning, Julie.
Grand Rising, Jonathan. How goes it this Red Friday?
Well, I think I'm about getting ready for America Fest coming up. And
Ooh, yes, me too.
I'm going to be on the road getting a lot of stuff done. Also getting ready for the event on the election integrity that we're doing Wednesday while I'm on the road. Um,
Right.
so Steve Stern will be broadcasting that for Steve and getting that out there to everybody. So
Excellent.
hope you guys can join into that as well on Wednesday. I'll update you with the times on that. And got a lot of new information on Tina Peters this morning.
Oh, yay.
And I'm going to go ahead and share it with everybody.
Great.
And then what we're going to go ahead and do, I'll share the judge's response as well. So first of all, Donald Trump pardoned Tina Peters. For those of you guys that don't know that, that just happened yesterday.
Mhm.
And what the judge said about Tina Peters is Tina Peters was convicted by a jury of her peers, prosecuted by a Republican district attorney, and found guilty of violating Colorado state laws. This is what the judge says, um, including criminal impersonation. Not sure how they got criminal impersonation in there, but
What?
um, oh yeah. No president has jurisdiction over state law nor the power to pardon a person for state convictions. This is a matter for the courts to decide, and we will abide by court orders. So, with that being said, I mean, if um, if you keep it in mind, Tina Peters is a whistleblower. By
Yes.
all rights, Donald Trump has the right to pardon her, put her in protective status as well.
Hmm.
And but this court, it thinks they are above the law. They think they can just supersede everything, and that's what they're pushing for.
Hmm.
It's just unbelievable the amount of crap Tina Peters has been through.
Yeah.
So far, she has been assaulted in prison multiple times. Um, just it's unbelievable the stuff Tina Peters has been going through.
Yes.
So I'm going to share with the screen here for everybody. This
Okay.
is a letter from the lawyer for Tina Peters that was sent over, and I believe we got the right one. There we go. Hopefully everybody can see that, and I'm going to try to read it for you guys. Um, so, actually, this is President Donald J. Trump, care of the Office of the Pardon Attorney, 950 Pennsylvania Avenue, Northwest, Washington, D.C. And let's see, sorry about that. I said that incorrectly to you guys. So, dear Mr. President, I know you are aware that Tina Peters is a 70-year-old Gold Star mother and that her trial was a travesty where she was not permitted to raise her defense. I can go on as to her character, but I prefer to take this opportunity to explain why Tina Peters is a critical and necessary witness to the most serious crime perpetrated against the United States in history. They stole our whole country for 4 years. Um, and that's actually very well said.
Mm-hmm.
Dominion and its employees operated an illegal operation on our soil, which was supported and controlled for foreign actors. The Colorado Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold, aided and abetted Dominion and foreign countries in targeting Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters. And so far, they've got that. It's pretty spot on. Um, First, Dominion Miss Griswold to assist in deleting all data from Dominion brand election equipment by ordering a statewide trusted build. Secondly, Dominion demanded. Sorry, I'm having trouble without my glasses here.
Yeah, criminal charges.
Criminal charges be brought against Clerk Peters when it discovered that she had the only copy of the 2020 election conducted on Dominion brand equipment. So this is exactly why they wanted Tina Peters.
Right.
This is exactly why they locked her away.
Yep.
They've got the evidence showing why.
Mm-hmm.
And this is exactly why Donald Trump needs to get her out, get her pardoned. There's 9 pages here, Julie. You want to have
Wow.
some of this if you feel up to it,
Man.
but we can share some of it. I'll just keep scrolling. Is that screen large enough for people to see it? I'm not sure.
If you can go larger, that would be better.
Let's try.
Yeah, there we go. That's better. Yep.
No.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not sure where I left off at. Sorry.
All right. So clerk, I'll take it from here then. Clerk Peters' copy of data was lawful, and she was entitled to image and preserve the 2020 election data pursuant to the contract Dominion signed with her as the clerk of Mesa County. Moreover, Clerk Peters was required to preserve the evidence of the election for 22 months pursuant to federal law 52 USC 20701. Clerk Peters' lone copy of the Colorado 2020 election is essential. Moreover, as is explained below regarding current investigations, Clerk Peters is a necessary and material witness. She can testify as to chain of custody, corroborate recent responses to search warrants, etc. Okay, now we can go up. All right, the bigger picture.
Did I go too far?
Yep, go back down a little bit. Okay, a little more down.
What the heck did I do? Sorry about that.
I don't know. You went too far.
Touchy navigator.
Okay, stop. All right, on December 2nd, 2025, the United States government released the public version of Hugo Carvajal Barrios' proffer. The proffer disclosed the ongoing national security investigation that includes Venezuela, Smartmatic, and Dominion. Mr. Carvajal served as Venezuela's Director of Military Intelligence and as a deputy in the National Assembly. Carvajal stated, "The Smartmatic system can be altered. This is a fact." The technology was later exported abroad, including to the United States. Carvajal was referring to the Dominion brand equipment and the Dominion Company. In 2006, numerous Venezuelans working for Smartmatic were deployed to the United States, given visas, and began modifying the Sequoia brand election equipment in Chicago, Illinois. A faction of the United States government knew that one of the where'd it go?
Oh, good question. What the heck?
Oh no! Something took over. What's happening?
Seriously?
Yes, take a look. Something showing up in your
Wow.
Gmail.
Well,
Whoa!
thanks, Facebook.
Whoa!
Let's try
Whoa!
this again.
Okay.
Where are we at here?
Okay. Keep scroll down. Keep going. Keep
I
going.
didn't touch a thing, Julie.
Oh my
That's
goodness,
weird.
that's crazy. Okay. Keep going. All right, let's stop there. Yeah, let's stop there. The United States officials responsible for granting the visas intentionally ignored the serious national security risk and allowed the Venezuelans and the Venezuelan government to access the United States' critical infrastructure. In 2020, Ronald Morales worked for Dominion under the direct supervision of Eric Coomer, David Marino, and John Poulos. Unbeknownst to Colorado's county clerks, including Clerk Peters, Mr. Morales, Mr. Coomer, and Mr. Marino were the three main people working on our soil to overthrow our government in 2020. Okay, if you'll scroll.
And
All right, stop. Morales, Coomer, and Moreno's participation included orchestrating access to county servers, implemented VPNs to allow remote access to modified ballot images and data prior to being recorded in volatile memory, implemented programming to allow remote entry and deletion of remote entry on the election equipment, executed modifications after EAC certification that were not disclosed to the EAC, executed modifications after logic and accuracy testing that were never disclosed to county clerks, implemented and deployed versions. Okay, scroll down.
okay.
Okay, stop. And equipment not consistent with contracts and agreements. Altered and deleted data, including tallied data prior to certification of elections. Implemented and concealed foreign access to election equipment prior to certification. Mislabeled Dominion brand products to conceal foreign actors. Lied to United States government officials about foreign parts and involvement to prevent exposure and oversight. Lied to the United States government and failed to disclose that Dominion files were breached on SolarWinds ServU to the United States government after receiving the NSA warning to patch a Microsoft vulnerability, and made changes to the functioning of the adjudication software until the end of October 2020 past certification and logic and accuracy testing. Okay, Mesa County Clerk Peters and the lone copy of the 2020 data. In 2021, Dominion, in an effort to cover its tracks, demanded that Jenna Griswold install a, quote, trusted build to take place on all Colorado Dominion brand equipment. Dominion used the Colorado Secretary of State to coordinate the SWIFT plan, which was to delete all evidence of the 2020 election. All clerks were notified that they must schedule and allow the Secretary of State's employees to install Dominion's, quote, trusted build. Okay, scroll down,
Yeah,
please.
right. Sure thing.
Yeah. Okay, stop. Clerk Peters was lied to by both Dominion and Ms. Griswold's office and told that the, quote, trusted build would not wipe and overwrite the 2020 election data. However, Clerk Peters did not believe the lie, and she took action to image the Dominion brand equipment and preserve the data prior to the, quote, trusted build being installed in an abundance of caution. After the trusted build was installed, Clerk Peters conducted a subsequent preservation of data, and she learned that it had, in fact, wiped and overwritten 29,000 files of the election records, which were required to have been preserved by federal law. In fact, the records of the adjudication, access log, and audit log files were completely and irreparably deleted. On August 4th, 2021, it became publicly known that Clerk Peters had preserved a bit-by-bit copy of the Mesa County 2020 election conducted on Dominion brand election equipment when the copy was displayed for the nation. Scroll, please.
So there you have it, folks. I mean, we're going to keep going through this, but I personally know Tina Peters.
Yeah, stop.
And again, the amount of evidence Tina Peters had to sink these guys for election fraud, they did everything in their power to silence her, to have her incarcerated, to lock her up.
Well, they did. They have locked her up. They have continued to lock her up. How long? 4 years now?
No, she's only been in a year.
Still, she shouldn't be in at all.
Yeah, but the point is, she's being held as a political prisoner.
Yep.
Locked away. They gave her 10 years. She's 71 years old. She has now been assaulted multiple times in prison. That the prisons aren't doing anything to protect her. And I think that's intentional. And this is where we're at. Now we got President Trump pardoning her, trying to protect her as a whistleblower, the whole 9 yards. And you got the judges overruling even Donald Trump. So go ahead and finish, Julie. Sorry.
That's okay. No, that's good. We needed that context. Thank you. All passwords had been redacted or changed, and there were no legitimate compromise to Mesa County's election security. Upon learning of the lone copy, Dominion immediately contacted Gina Griswold in her capacity of Secretary of State that Clerk Peters be criminally charged with obtaining a copy of the 2020 election data prior to the installation of the, quote, trusted build. The Colorado Secretary of State promptly contacted Mesa investigator Detective Cannon, who commenced a criminal investigation to charge Clerk Peters, despite knowing that her imaging the data was not a crime.
Yeah. And let's show the trial of Clerk Peters intended to place all clerks in fear of preserving data required by federal law, or they too could be imprisoned for life. Okay, here we go.
Dad. At trial, Detective Cannon, who headed the non-criminal criminal investigation, conceded that he knew that it was not a crime for Clerk Peters to have imaged and copied the data, yet he continued to investigate anyway, despite not having a crime on which to base his investigation. Okay, so hopefully we can turn around and hold this guy accountable too. Detective Cannon testified that he learned that Clerk Peters did not disclose the identity of Conan Hayes, the expert retained by Clerk Peters to properly preserve the data. Clerk Peters initially requested the IT department to preserve the data, but learned that the IT people did not know how to copy it. Jesse Romero, who worked for the Secretary of State, testified that the Colorado Secretary of State requested that Clerk Peters provide the identity of those that would be present for the, quote, trusted build in the Mesa County office considering, quote, COVID policy. At that time, it was admitted in open court that there was no law that Clerk Peters violated when she declined to share the expert's identity because it was merely, quote, a COVID policy.
Yeah, wow.
The errors at trial were voluminous. Clerk Peters did not work for the Secretary of State, and there was no legal obligation to disclose who entered the Mesa County Clerk's office to the Secretary of State. After all, it was Clerk Peters, scroll down, who was duly elected by Mesa County. The court failed to give an execution of public duty jury instruction that would have clearly demonstrated Clerk Peters' power in Mesa County and obligations pursuant to federal law. Additionally, the court allowed the state attorney general to mock Conan Hayes, Clerk Peters's expert who imaged the machines as a surfer and, quote, conspiracy theorist, while preventing Clerk Peters from showing that Mr. Hayes was on federal contract to Homeland Security for the purpose of imaging and copying election data at the time he imaged Mesa County, and that he held top tier security clearances. The court further erred by refusing to allow sworn testimony that demonstrated that Mr. Hayes had worked as a federal informant to collapse an international criminal investigation, Backpage.com, that was cartel run. Clerk Peters was left with no defense demonstrating that she had legitimate reasons to keep Hayes' identity confidential. Let me scroll down, please. The court was determined to sentence Clerk Peters to life in advance of the November 2024 election to ensure that no clerk had the courage to preserve election data or question the very fraud that was expected by all to take place. In fact, the court refused to hear a motion for new trial that was based upon learning that Clerk Peters did not have an unbiased jury of her peers. Following the trial, a former FBI agent interviewed the jurors and learned that one juror believed that Clerk Peters was responsible for targeting her business and cut phone wires costing her thousands of dollars. The juror conceded that she later, after the guilty verdict, learned from police that Peters had nothing to do with the phone wires, but it was too late to fix the prejudice that took place. United States Department of Justice, Department of War, and Homeland Security accountability underway now. The dominoes started falling on August 9th, 2024, when the United States Department of Justice unsealed indictments including money laundering and violations of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act against Juan Andres Donato Batista, Roger Alejandro Peanuts Martinez, Jorge Miguel Vasquez, and Eli. Scroll down, please.
Boy, you speak that pretty well.
I know no Spanish. No, this indictment. I'm just guessing. That indictment coyly concealed the identity of Smartmatic. Wow. The second domino fell on October 16, 2025, when the United States Department of Justice unsealed a superseding indictment charging SGO Corporation Limited, aka Smartmatic, with conspiracy to violate the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, conspiracy to engage in money laundering, and money laundering. The third domino fell on December 2nd, 2025, when Carvajal's public version proffer was made available, announcing the criminal investigation, including to United States election companies. Clerk Peters is a critical eyewitness to the destruction of federal election records by Gina Griswold. She is also necessary to establish chain of custody of the forensic images. Her testimony corroborates all of the data obtained by search warrants and consent through cooperating government offices. Inevitably, Dominion will blame, quote, human error at the local level, as it did in an action in Antrim County, or, quote, isolated erroneous source code, as it did in Williamston, Tennessee. But when all of the data has the same common criminal evidence, it demonstrates the orchestrated criminal plan and enterprise. Now it is obvious why Clerk Peters had to be silent.
And it is obvious, she has, especially with all the evidence that she brought forth, and a lot of this evidence, you got to keep in mind, Julie, was never allowed to be presented in the courtroom.
Yeah,
this is a crap. This was a complete frame. Where they framed her to no end.
They framed her because she had the missing link to show how all of the pieces have been.
And I personally want to see that court held accountable, as a lot of these judges that are being arrested around the country. I want to see this judge locked up. This judge is part of the corruption.
Absolutely. So present prison situation at this point, Tina Peters has served 431 days in prison. Unacceptable. Of course, prison is a horrible experience for anyone, but it is worse for those who are innocent and wrongfully persecuted. It is even worse for those who are categorized as evildoers or political prisoners with whom the guards and the general prison population disagree. Moreover, in Colorado, the prison system for women does not separate those convicted for the white-collar crimes vis-a-vis the violent offenders. There are dangerous people who truly belong locked up, but Tina Peters is not one of them. About 6 months ago, Mrs. Peters was threatened with harm. Go ahead and scroll up.
Yeah.
Her life was threatened by a group of inmates to stab and to kill her. This was reported to the FBI and DOJ, which had agents interview her. She was moved to a different unit. In the new unit, she was attacked by other prisoners 3 times in different locations where guards had to pull inmates off of her. She's 71 years old, for God's sake. There's
Yep.
actually a safe unit where inmates who do not cause problems can be assigned. She has applied to be put into that unit, but was denied 6 times without a valid reason. Presently, she is in the smallest cell of her unit. It was formerly used for a washing machine and dryer. Oh my God. She and her cellmate have just 21 square feet or 3 feet by 7 feet. Only one of the cellmates can stand at a time. Lately, she has been required to take drug tests in the evening when she otherwise would have been sleeping. That process takes hours, during which she mostly was required to sit on cold cement. This was while enduring a chronic cough, which was similar to the cough she had before surgery for lung cancer, where a third of one of her lungs was removed in 2016. Yet all she was given was an x-ray. Moreover, she has 3 places in her spine which are degenerative, and the prison refuses to provide a mattress more than 2 inches thick, even though the prison possesses 40 mattresses which are 4 inches thick and stored and not used. The area also has black mold to which she is exposed. You have the power to pardon Tina Peters for offenses to the state of Colorado. You, as the President of the United States, have the power to grant a pardon pursuant to Article 2, Section 2, Paragraph 1 of the Constitution of the United States, which states in part, he shall have power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. The reason that many pundits opine that you have only the power to grant pardons for federal offenses is that we all understand the, quote, United States to be the federal government of our country. We have one country, and it is called the United States. When we consider the United States, its personal pronoun is it, which exemplifies that it is one nation. Therefore, we read offenses against the United States to mean offenses against the federal government. However, from the time of its inception until after the Civil War, when one considered the United States, it was thought of as the various countries or states which had become united. Hence, when its pronouns was used, it was always they, them, or their. For instance, Article 3, Section 3, Paragraph 3 of the Constitution states, treason of the United States shall consist only in levying war against them or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. Emphasis added. The understanding of these united countries was that our country was a conglomerate of separate countries, which had been united for certain common purposes and protections. That understanding is evidenced toward the end of the Civil War in the 13th Amendment. It states, Section 1, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist in the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction, emphasis added. The question of whether a president can pardon for state offenses has never been raised in any court. The issue which needs to be answered, whether our founders understood or intended when they wrote that the president had the power to pardon offenses against the United States, if it meant the states or only the federal government. Did they mean the one central authority, or did they mean the plural, meaning the states which were united? Question mark.
Yeah.
In that day and age, they were speaking of the United Countries, and the president was given the right to pardon all offenses. Moreover, it does not make sense that they intended to give the individual states the power to circumvent the president's power to pardon. The matter of Tina Peters is a perfect example of how the power of the president is being circumvented. Tina Peters committed no crime. What she did was obey the federal requirement to preserve the evidence of the election. She followed federal law. By charging Mrs. Peters with collateral state offenses, the state of Colorado believes that it can operate in the shadows of the president, where the light of his authority does not extend. This could not have been what the founders envisioned. The President of the United States has the power to grant a pardon in any of the states of the United States. For more information, the Whistleblower's Declaration, videos, and other pertinent information can be found at tinapeters.us. Respectfully submitted, Peter Ticketon.
There you go. So, again, we've been covering a lot of this. We've been telling you guys to put a lot of pressure on them for the release of Tina Peters. I am glad to see action being taken in this matter. But that's not enough.
Whoa.
What the heck happened there?
Wow, that was weird.
Is that not weird?
That was because I was just getting ready to say this, because Tina Peters needs to be released immediately. She cannot wait. Her health is in dire straits right now. This is
unacceptable. Julie, I got to point this out to my viewing audience. Every time we're getting into tough subjects, getting it out there to the American people, it's like something interferes with our broadcast. It's
every
nonstop.
Every flipping time.
But if you haven't noticed, I've got backup plans now for when it does that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to stay on top of it to where I'm one step ahead of these guys.
Right.
I'm trying to interfere with our broadcast. But
we're still live as far as we can tell, so I think we're okay.
Well, we're not pushing up daisies. That's a fact.
Not in a FEMA camp either, you asshole.
Yeah. But here's the thing, folks. We got Tina Peters, a very good friend of mine as well. She was wrongfully incarcerated, and all she was trying to do is the right thing, called exposing the corrupt elections.
Yep.
She had the evidence. She had it all in hand. They tried to silence her. Not only did they silence her, they locked her up. Locked her up for doing the right thing. And
for doing her job. Yes, for doing her job. And preserving the information that was proof of what they were wiping out. They were going in and rewriting the software so it would take all that crap out. This is the deeper you dive, the more corruption you find. It's just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Well, it's like everything, Julie. I mean, the more that we put pressure on things, the more they try to come after us as well. And but at the same time, I'm kind of like Tina Peters. I'm not going to back down from getting the truth out to America. And if they want to try to come after me for doing it, then they're just going to have to try to come after me. But we're gonna continue to get this information out to the American people one way or the other. And I'm not stopping what we're doing.
No.
So all the money in the world. First of all, you can't buy me. I'm not for sale. You can't buy my news station. It's not for sale. So because I know you'd buy it just to silence us.
Right.
But beyond that, we're going to keep pursuing this. We're going to keep getting the facts in hand. We're going to get it out there to the American people. We're going to continue to conduct our investigations on these matters ourselves,
Hmm.
and keep presenting the evidence that we come across and getting it to the right places. And this is
Hmm.
what all of us need to be doing. I mean,
Hmm.
so for any other whistleblowers out there that may be getting word of our show today, if you guys have information as well, you need to come forth. And I would not reach out at this point. I'd reach out to the presidents of the United States with it.
Hmm.
Um,
Yep. Why not? There's nothing to lose at this point.
yeah, because if you
Yeah.
take it to your local state or whatever, chances are it's going to disappear anyways, or
Right.
even you.
Right.
Um, but but again, this is what happens when we're trying to expose things. You know, they go after our juggler as these Democrats keep walking for all their crimes. You know,
And they make it up. I mean, there was
oh yeah,
no charge whatsoever. She didn't do anything wrong. And she's in with all of these nasty, nefarious criminals that have done massively wrong things in the past, and they're in there.
right.
And she's been denied 6 times to be able to move into a safer, more secure location. Come on,
I
these
truly
people need to be held
believe
responsible. They need to
I
be held
truly believe they
responsible.
want her dead. I think they want her dead, and that's why they're
Yes, they
allowing her to do
do.
something.
I don't doubt that. It
Uh,
scares the shit out of
and I
me.
think
That
that's
shouldn't
what the
happen.
prisons are hoping for.
Yes.
And it wouldn't surprise me one bit if the governor or somebody hires a hitman, a hit woman to go in there and just take her out.
And this isn't the first J6er I've heard where they have tried to kill the person inside too. I know a couple of gentlemen that were inside that they were trying to kill them with poisoning the nasty, gross food that they were giving them, and oh, yeah, it's amazing that anybody has survived the conditions by which the J6ers have been picked up. It's horrific.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Well, seeing is believing. We're living
Yeah.
in times where we're seeing plenty of garbage out there. And trust me, I believe every bit of what I'm seeing now because it's right there.
Mhm.
All the evidence has come forth. I mean, it's right
Yeah.
there before our eyes. And the question is, what's going to be done? I
Right.
mean, what's the next step for Trump, the Trump administration, to go after Colorado for what they're doing now?
Yes.
They know it's corruption. They know they cheated in the election. They've got the evidence that they cheated in the election.
Hmm.
So that I want to see that whole corrupt system brought to its knees.
Same.
Yeah. So, well, guys, we're going to end this broadcast today a little bit early. We've got a busy week ahead. We're going to be
We do.
on the road to America Fest 2025. Hope you guys can join in with us at that. And then we'll be doing Jonathan Julie D in the morning, starting again on the following Monday after the event. And
22nd.
then,
Yeah.
yep. And then we're also going to be broadcasting live on the election integrity. That's going to be on the 17th as well. So I've got quite a busy schedule ahead, but we're going to broadcast that live to all you guys.
Yep.
And that'll be about a 2-hour segment. Hope you guys can watch it and just get involved. We need, we, we desperately need you guys. Need you guys
Yep.
involved. Please follow us, like and comment on our broadcast, and
Hmm.
share it. For God's sake, share this with everywhere. Get
Yes.
it out there, guys. We're trying to do all we can to help expose the corruption in Colorado as well. Um,
Hmm.
and and we know how the Democrats work. We're all guilty, according to the Democrats. Guilty
Yeah.
of their crimes? I don't think
Right.
so. Um,
Always.
so we need to
Ridiculous.
definitely go after them, and just keep our president in your thoughts and prayers as well.
Right.
Us and our team in your thoughts and prayers. And
Hmm.
we're just going to keep moving forward with this and see if we can't get this country back in the right order. So,
Yep.
so
Doing what we
all right.
can.
Yeah. So, Julie, I will see you at the American Fest on Wednesday, I believe. Yeah.
Yes. Excited.
We'll see you down there Wednesday. Hope you guys all can tune in, and we'll be covering that for 4 days. So,
Yes.
so you'll be seeing us live coming up, beginning, I believe, starting Wednesday. Sorry, we'll be live with the election integrity.
Hmm.
Thursday, American Fest event starts, and we'll be broadcasting live from that for 4 days. Um, Other than that, God bless all you guys out there. Happy Friday to you guys. Hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend. And we'll see you
Yep.
guys